Hello and welcome to a new episode at Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, Ahmed Assaf, and today we have an amazing guest, Roberto Rodriguez. How are you, Roberto, today?
I'm doing fantastic, Ahmed. Thank you for having me, man.
Thank you, Roberto. First, I want to ask the audience to write their goals or the one goal that they want more than anything else in this life. So once they are going through this episode, they will start just connecting with that goal and just making action directly. So I would like to start with you because today we'll be talking about the high performers and peak performers even. And we'll be talking in both aspects and in life, in personal life and in a business aspect. So
hmm
if we would like to start first to tell me, because you told me like you have a secret formula. So I want you to start with those elements of your formula that you have applied, and then we can elaborate from that point.
Fantastic. I will love that. I think it's no longer secret now because it's out in the open. So
Mhm.
it's now published there. And it's nothing that I've come up entirely myself. I kind of readapted the existing performance formula. But I believe very, very strongly that this formula will allow people to understand where to put the intention and attention to obtain the maximum performance. Yeah,
Mhm.
desire. So for those who are writing the goals down, pay attention because these would allow you to tackle or to kind of phase that goal going forward with your maximum output potential. So the secret formula starts with the P of performance. Yeah. So performance equals to S plus K times A minus I. So what does that mean? So performance equals to, first of all, S, what are our skill set? Yeah. So I'm not an astronaut, so I don't know. I cannot go into the International Space Station. So I need to know where my potentials are, where my core skills are, but also what my limiting skills are, how far it can take me. So be aware of the skills, of the knowledge, which, by the way, can always be increased and improved. So you can improve your skills, add more skills, knowledge, the K, so you can add more knowledge, you can increase your knowledge, more and more. So the sum of skills plus knowledge is the basic foundation of our performance. Again, I cannot paint the Sistine Chapel. I'm not an artist, so I need to be aware. As much as I want right now to paint the Sistine Chapel, I need to be aware that it's not within my skill set or my knowledge. Can I achieve it? For sure. If I put the same time that the artist that painted it into learning and practicing and then developing the talent, but we need to be aware that skills and knowledge are the basic foundation of this secret formula. This is where we go. Now, this is a sum, yeah? So you sum your skills plus your knowledge, but it's the attitude that multiplies it. So this is where the key element is. And I know we'll talk about this later on, but the key element is A for attitude. So, it's not so much about our aptitude, but the multiplying factor will be our attitude, our mindset. When we talk about attitude, and I love the way you present this yourself in your business, it's about the mindset. Yeah. So when you're able to master your mindset to multiply what you already have in the foundation, peak performance goes in. But then the key element at the end is also very important as well, which is the subtracting. If we are not able to eliminate the impediments, the interference within our business or our own lives that will allow us to move forward faster, then even if we multiply our attitude, we're still not maximizing the output in that secret formula.
I
Hope that
love.
makes sense.
So Roberto, I was just yesterday, I was with my one of my friends, and we're just discussing about why most people are stuck. And we got up with three things. There's lots of things, but we got to summarize it with 3 points. The first one, unwilling to commit. The second one, the distractions. And distractions here means in internal distractions, and there's an external distractions. And three is doing the wrong things. So through those elements that you came up with, because once we are talking about performers and performance, and especially peak performers, because they are obsessed with their goals, They are relentless. They never stop, and they are fearless. Where would you add those things in your formula?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. So I think in the A of attitude, we'll come to your first point, right? So A, my mindset is, okay, what are the things that I need to change within my attitude towards my goals that will allow me to put my, like you call it, my willingness into perform. So that's the first thing that we need to be self-aware. Yeah. So we need to look inwards and say, okay, what's stopping me? Is it really a lack of desire? It might not be, because if we want to go, we generally really want it. Now, what is it that is stopping us? It could be all habits, yeah, and that will go into the impediment side or the interference. But for the attitude, I think it will call the willingness of people to not push forward and have success. Now, the other two, I believe, are one and the same thing. So distractions and then doing the wrong thing. And let me explain why I think they're the same thing. In a workshop not too long ago, in a conference I was given to in a business, that we were talking about the concept of traction versus distraction. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great that it plays on the words, because when you talk about distraction, you tend to say, hey, I'm like looking elsewhere. But it's not only just looking elsewhere or stop doing what you're thinking. Is if you are to gain traction towards your goal, you have to put the effort, the attention, the intention where it truly matters. Because you can be working 20 hours a day and still not move forward because you're doing the wrong things. Like you said, you're putting all the efforts in the wrong thing. And I used a story very quickly in 2 minutes.
Sure.
Of this guy that was going to the mountains. Yeah. Like every winter he go, before the winter hit, he will go up the mountains, chop some wood for the fireplace, and then come down. So he went down, he went up with his truck and his, hookup trailer on the back. And like every year he would go before the snow, but the snow came a little earlier this time. And then he found himself stranded on the mountain with his truck. And then he said, okay, so I'm going to load the wood into the trailer, because he said, the weight of the wood would allow it to gain some traction. This is where the fun part comes in, because he was loading the tractor, kind of like the trailer back, instead of the truck bed. Yeah, normally you have the truck bed plus the trailer. So he was loading all the wood on the trailer, like a lot of people do into high performance. And then the wheels still spin. He couldn't gain traction. And then he remembered his physics class in the high school, because the weight needs to be in the body that is in movement, not the one that you're pulling off. So he moved all the wood from the trailer into the truck bed. And then the weight allowed him to gain traction to move out of the stuck area of the snow. Isn't that, that simple, stupid little story, which was a real thing that happened to somebody, will teach us that doesn't matter how much wood you put in your trailer. If the wood doesn't have to be in the trailer and it has to be in the bed truck, you need to load the bed truck.
Exactly. I love that story to talk about the extreme ownership about our life and about our results, because it's our responsibility, because results are coming from us and not to us. Most of the people, because we're talking about peak performers, and here we are talking another level of performing things and doing things in a certain way, because I want to elaborate more about the attitude, because lots of people talking about the attitude, and for me it's the magic, as it's a magic word, as Earl Nightingale said. Really, it's the magic word. But where's the attitude? It's the results. It affects the money, earning money. It affects our relationships. It affects our health. It affects everything in our life. So could you give us a definition for the attitude?
Yeah, of course. The way, I'm not going to use a very dictionary like
Yeah,
definition, but I'll give you my take on attitude.
sure.
I think attitude is the result of repetitive corrective behavior. So and I talk a little bit about this in my book, in the Nuclear Leader, because the way that our mind works is that we have foundational thoughts that are based on our system of beliefs, our system of values, and then everything that we perceive from the outside world, even when we're looking inwards, because we're kind of becoming the observer of ourselves, everything is filtered through a lot of metadata that we've created over the years, by our cultural background, by our upbringing, by the experiences that we've gone through life, everything like that. And if we let those programs run itself, then they will take us exactly where we told the programs they will take us, and generally is on the negative side. So we have to learn how to intervene in the thought, in the mastery of the mind, like you put it. Why? Because if we're not able to break the cycle, attitude will always be the result of the same thoughts that we have that will lead into actions, that will lead into behaviors, that will lead into attitude or character, and then back again into the circle. So attitude is nothing more than the result, or in this case, high performance attitude or high performance positive attitude will be the result of us breaking the negative cycle and fitting in the positive learning cycle into behaviors, actions, behaviors, and then into attitude. Yeah.
I really love that definition. And here the point is every successful person have a perfect attitude or a great attitude. You could have like fair attitude and you have a fair results, and you could have a bad attitude and you'll have by default bad results. So it all depends about the attitude, and understanding ourselves and understanding the attitude is essential. And now I'm talking to our audience. I want them to be like really active listeners to us, because we are talking about lots of essential things once you want really big things. Because if you have a big goals and really you have this authentic want coming from the essence of you, who you are, it doesn't happen like by luck. It doesn't happen by just by accident. I don't believe in luck. I don't know what's your perspective
I
on,
don't. I
but
don't. I don't.
but and it's not at the same time, it's not impossible, it's not a secret. It's doing things in a certain way. And now today we're discussing those certain ways. It's by law. And attitude, it's by law. It's called it's our perspective to how we view the world. And it applies the law of polarity, because for every situation there's the positive things and there's a negative thing. And if we look to the problem as a situation, as a problem, we're looking at the negativity. It's our attitude, but still there's a positive in it, and there's still opportunity, and that's how your attitude will tell how much, where are you concentrating on, how can you leverage the opportunity to get the best from that. And Roberto, I want to talk, you told me about affecting that formula on the personal and the business life, because now our audience they want to know more about how it affects our personal life first.
Indeed, I think if they look at this performance formula as a general formula, it will apply to both business and life, in a sense that instead of habits in business, you run systems or processes, but it's really the same thing in life. We should think about becoming the own entrepreneurs of our own life. I think people will perform a lot better in life and relationships if they look at life as a enterprise. And in the sense, life is full of wrong attitudes, like you just discussed, and but also the main blockers or the I in the impediments. We tend to put those ourselves. Like when we think about businesses, if I'm an entrepreneur, but the other way around, if I'm a leader that I work in a company, and then I say, I might not have the access to change the processes or systems that I don't think they work well. Yeah, but you can influence them. Maybe it's not in your circle of control, but you can influence it. But in life, it's absolutely entire to us. So we are the result of our own thoughts. And when you said about, if I believe in luck, and a lot of people say, oh, but some people will be thinking, yeah, but you have to be in the right place at the right time. That's got to be luck. No, it's not luck. You and I, Ahmed, we believe in the hand of providence, but we don't believe in luck. If you want to be in the right place at the right time, be in the right place at the right time. Exactly. So make it happen for you. It might take longer. Like, maybe people are thinking, yeah, it's easy for you that now you're having the interview on the podcast with Ahmed. Yeah. But we have to get to that point where we discuss, where we got to the point where we network, where we know each other. That is not luck. is the actual attitude towards the work, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's why we created the reasons. It's God creating everything, but we have to create such reasons that leads us to be creative in this world. And this is how we could be creative with others and just compete with ourselves. I really love that because with all that progress that we are going through our journey and enjoying achieving our goals, because everyone should have this authentic want, but through that journey, it's not full of flowers and, there's lots of obstacles, and that's the enjoyment I see in life. So how could this formula helps us to overcome all those obstacles?
By filling the gaps. So people should take that formula and say, okay, what is my P? What is my desired outcome? What is it, the performance I want to get to? Okay, define it. Then if that is going to equal to S, the skills, do I have all the skills that I need to get to the output? If I don't, that's okay. Identify the gap and cover it. Whether it is, I want to get married. Okay. Do you have a girlfriend now? You don't have a girlfriend. You have a boyfriend. No, you don't have a boyfriend. Okay. Well, then you have a gap. You have to first find your boyfriend or your girlfriend to get married. But in life is everything like that. So find what are the skills and the knowledge that you're lacking now for that desired output, and then work on getting them. Become the master of those skills, become the master of that knowledge, and then work on your attitude in the meantime. So if I have a problem where I'm not, I procrastinate. Okay, well, that's exactly the type of work that you have to work right now. If I need to get into the habit of non-procrastination, right, to change my attitude. So think about what are the thoughts that take me into procrastination. It might be that, I know that I have to fill in that report, and it's like, oh, come on, man, but I'd rather just write a WhatsApp to my buddy. Well, maybe the habit is you put the phone away while you're working on something. Whatever that is, but you have to find what are the gaps in your attitude that you think, and the best way to do it is find a coach like Ahmed and myself to help you identify those gaps, because we've been there. As mentors, we can exactly point what are those attitudes or habits that are impeding you from moving, and then find and identify what the I is. What are the impediments? What are my limiting thoughts? Like when I wake up in the morning and I look in the mirror, do I see myself as a successful person? Do I accept myself as I am? Do I have struggles to accepting feedback from others? So, all of those things, identifying the gaps of what are the impediments, what are the limiting thoughts that I have. Oh, I will never be as successful as X and Y. Well, why not? Maybe you will be. So all of those things, they need to be identified, and then finding that formula, what are the key parameters in their own lives that, is stopping them from achieving that desired output of performance.
I really love that because I want to just highlight this to our audience and listeners, because quantum leaps and just those massive actions happens in eliminating those things. So if you keeping it inside of you, those limitations or beliefs, it will be like a lid on you. Just you cannot move from that. So you have to let it go. You have to keep the space empty for new like reevaluation for those beliefs. And so it will be you will be filled with those. I'm capable of doing it. I'm able to do this. I'm able to contact that person. I'm able to increase my sales, or whatever your authentic what it is. And here is an encouragement to our audience is every 90 days, sit alone just for like 1 hour, disconnect from everyone. And I'd love to do it by myself, is make some reevaluation for the belief system and ask myself what belief I should be just reevaluating, but it's stopping me from achieving my goal. And the second one is what one skill set I should be developing to achieve my goal. It's not about the quantity of those things, beliefs, or quantity of skill sets. It's about the quality and how much I be precise. It's not doing lots of things, but doing like being overwhelmed. I have to do lots of things. No, it's being precise. I want this, one, two, and don't put more than one or two habits and and from that point, I would love to connect that back to the attitude, because I feel attitude is more important than habit.
Absolutely, indeed. It was it was a small snippet into it. But going back before we go into what you just said it's like to that analogy before. It's about putting the wood on the truck bed. Yeah, don't get distracted. Don't do 1,000 things. Do the right thing incredibly well, and then you move forward. Yeah, and absolutely, yeah, that is a fantastic concept. So for me, again, attitude is not just about the habits. So if you think about what we were discussing on that circle, that attitude is the result of all of those things. And maybe I'm going to say something that is very unpopular, but those limiting systems of beliefs come from our families. They tend to come always from our parents. Yeah. And the analogy is the experiment they run on flies. You know, if you put a bunch of flies, baby flies in a, like a container with a lid, and then they hit the lid over and over again, that ceiling, it comes to a point where they know that's the limit of how high they can fly, and you can remove the lid and they will not fly off that container by themselves. They cannot, because they've put a self-limiting belief that is the end of how high they can fly. That's kind of what our lives have been about, between experiences and our parents' uprising and the feedback that we've received from perhaps bullies in school, or whatever outcome that, whatever environment we had. Oh, you cannot do it. Oh, you cannot do it. Oh, you can't do this. You can't do that. And then this is the lead that we have to remove and recognize that, there's more out there to jump out, and you can fly as high as you want to fly. And this is what I talk about habits. It's about not the physical or temporal habits, but more the mental processing, the mental habits of identifying what are those thoughts that I have that lead me into an action. Like, for example, procrastination. If I have a thought in particular that I need to analyze, that is leading me into procrastination, okay, attack that particular thought, which will lead into a different action, which will lead into a different behavior and attitude.
I love that story of the fly and the lid, because if you read the book U Square, and it starts with that story of that fly just trying to flying on the glass, trying to pass through the glass and just hitting the glass. Sometimes it's not about flying harder or working harder. Sometimes you have to change the way. And you said about those limited beliefs, it's coming from genetically, or from how being raised at home, and then at school, and then even with friends and work. So everyone have limited beliefs. It's not something, it's just to be shy from it or just embarrassing. No, it's just you have to recognize it and just work on it, because everything can be changed. Your identity can be changed. Everything can be changed, but no one can help you other than yourself. You have to decide. You have to take this commitment that I want to change. And here's something that I want to introduce is the emotional intelligence. And how could this, because every action we do, it's coming from our emotions. 95% of our behaviors, our results, or perspectives, so this world is coming from our subconscious mind, which is the emotional mind. So how would you see that emotional intelligence playing a part of this formula?
I'll give it in a very quick snippet.
Sure.
There is a university in the US called Heart Math Institute, and they focus solely on identifying everything about the heart. Yeah. And what neuroscience has been learning in the past decades is that, back in the day, we thought that there was only one neural center, which was the brain. But it turns out that we have about 5. So, the main 2 of those neural centers are the brain, but the heart. So, and we always talk about the heart being the filter of emotions, and it truly is. And I'll tell you why we can prove that mathematically and scientifically now. Heart Math Institutes, run a study over a long period of time, and they've come to a conclusion that when we received information from the outside world, everything that we receive through our senses, it's from the outside world, or even what we tell ourselves, again, becoming the observers or the conservators ourselves, what we tell ourselves is first filtered through the heart and then through the brain by like milliseconds, infinitesimal part of a second. The heart, the neural center of the heart, reacts before the neural center of the brain, which means that when our brains, which is the center of logic, processes everything, it's already gone through our heart. So understanding that cycle of how important it is to understand emotions. And emotions, we need to consider them as the energy emotions. So the energy that comes out, from the outside into in. How do we process that? And then that is going to determine our thoughts and then again actions, behaviors, and attitude. So if we don't become fluent in the language of emotions, if we don't become acquainted with what are the skills, what are the knowledge, what are the tools that we can use to better ourselves emotionally, then it's going to be very difficult to change our attitude, our limiting beliefs.
So it starts with the thoughts, and those thoughts will define our feelings. And here's the issue, not an issue, it's something that we've been conditioned to let our five senses controlling us, controlling our feelings. And I found out that those we have the six mental faculties, and I'm sure that you've been through them. If we use them, which is the memory, the perception, and the intuition, and the will, and the fifth one is, I forgot it now. It's not on my mind, but
I was trying to remember the order of those,
yeah,
but
but the imagination,
Mhm.
intuition. So if we use those imagination and all those six mental faculties, we'll make, because those will define the emotional state. And I see that the peak performers and the number one, like the 1% people, this club have this emotional discipline where their emotions is always like stable. They don't judge the things. They just respond. They don't react, and they observe, and just they let it go. How they do that, it's not something easy. I know we are human beings, but letting go, we should make maybe one episode about letting go.
Yep.
And it's having that emotional discipline that they are in control. They are in control of their emotions, and their mindset is controlling their emotions. But some of us, we think that we should have those positive emotions. I think that, okay, but we should celebrate, but then we have to go back within a moments to where the minutes to the neutral, because this neutral state will define and will give you the calmness in the mind.
Absolutely, man. I'm actually writing a whole book about that called
Yeah,
The Wonderful World of Neutrality.
yeah, because I don't want to burn that. So let's keep it.
No, 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 no. By all means, go ahead, because it's
I
a
will keep
fantastic
it
topic,
because,
man.
yeah, because it's we think it's, oh, we have to be positive. Okay, I'm not against that, but it's not more important to be positive. It's harder or tougher to be a little bit on the negative. That will be affecting you more. So the thing is, you have to have this neutral emotions. How to have that? It's about controlling your thoughts. And that's discipline, is what thoughts you are accepting or what thoughts you are rejecting. And once you feel that your emotions or you're in a bad vibration, just ask yourself one question. What am I thinking of? Once you know that point, you can get back, make this reverse engineering and go back to the thoughts and just make a shift in the thoughts. Just quit whatever you're doing. And and this is the emotional intelligence is it's so essential through our journey to have that. And it's not something, okay, I have this emotional intelligence. No, you have to develop it till the end of your life.
Indeed. Like
So
any skill, you
yeah,
have to continuously improve. You have to continue. It's a muscle. If you don't work out your muscles, they become softer and you cannot do as much with
exactly.
them. The brain is still a muscle. Emotional intelligence, intellect itself is a muscle that we have to work on and constantly develop. I absolutely agree, man. I absolutely agree.
Yeah,
Becoming,
yeah,
no, no, go ahead.
yeah, and the six mental faculties also the same.
Yeah.
They are mental muscles in the conscious mind sitting, and it's like a muscle. We have to activate them. We have to activate our imagination and think of our goal. Just visualize our goal. And then intuition is be in this harmony with our goal and just do the things that we feel from our heart, as you said, because let our heart guide us, not our logic, because our logic will take us from A to B.
Mm.
as Einstein said, and not because our imagination will take us everywhere. And then the reasoning, and reasoning here is thinking in a different way, thinking in a certain way, as you said now, as your formula, because your formula is so impactful. And if you apply it in your daily life, in your personal life, and in your business, you'll have an amazing results. So it all starts with an authentic want and have this commitment and courage to step out and have the confidence and build that discipline and make that action through your formula to get the results that you really want. So, what would be your, Roberto, your last insight or message to our audience in both aspects, in their personal and in their business, to have those successfully in both personal and professionally?
I will tell them, if I had to summarize it into one last advice, I will tell everybody, look inwards. Whether you are in the business or in your personal life, look inwards, because we tend to find we think that the solution is coming from the outside. We tend to look outwards for either the blame or the solution or the help. I promise you, everybody, every business, every person in life has the potential already within them. If they don't have the tools to extract it, I can understand that, but don't look outside, because from outside you will learn skills and knowledge, fine, but the potential for high performance, it's already within you. That will be my advice. Look inward.
I love you. So yeah, I love that the way how you say it, and you should have this unwavering belief in yourself. Thank you, Roberto, for this amazing episode, and looking forward to have you another. Once your second book is ready, you're most welcome to have another episode about
Awesome.
letting go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amit.